Hello, I'm Simon and welcome to the SciRob YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to talk you through how I changed my drive shafts. Well, I didn't actually change them, I needed to take them off for other stuff, but I thought, well, whilst I'm filming it, the process is exactly the same as if you were going to fit brand new drive shafts. So just started off just with a bit of wire brushing and penetrating oil on the track rod end, and on this it needs a 8mm counter hold and then an 18mm to do the knot, and then it just dislocates nice and easy. You can use a hammer to pop it out if there's a lot of corrosion. And then I popped off the drive shaft bolt and then used just the plastic head of a screwdriver, a stiff screwdriver, gave it a few whacks with a hammer, and that started to push the drive shaft back into the hob to make removal a lot easier. Just on the top of the hub is the ABS sensor. Location varies with different cars, but they're normally located somewhere around the hub. And on this it's just a 10mm bolt which pops out, and then I just used a wide screwdriver just to give the sensor a bit of a wiggle and help it on its way when it came to pulling it out, because you've only got a thin wire, and so you want to give yourself as much help as possible pulling it out. And there it is. You can actually see some score marks on the bottom of the sensor from corrosion on the ABS ring, and that will be in a separate video, how to change the ABS rings. So then it's just a question of removing the top strut bolt. So on this it's 21mm and an 18mm counter hold. You can sometimes get away, if you've got a strut design like this with two bolts, you can sometimes get away with just removing the top bolt and then loosening the bottom bolt and then just pivoting out the hub without taking the hub off. So I thought I'd give that a go on this occasion, just to loosen the bottom bolt and see how I went on. But different cars do vary, and sometimes you have to do a little bit more assembling, disassembling, just to get the drive shaft out. So you can see the drive shaft, excuse me, drive shaft is now easily coming out of the hub, but clearance is an issue to get it out fully. So I'll just show you another option that you'll have, and that's to undo the track rod end. It's not the track rod end, goodness me, the anti-roll bar link, and when you take that out, it just releases a bit of tension on the strut, and that can sometimes give you just the extra couple of millimeters wriggle room in order to take the drive shaft out of the hub. But I was still having no joy on this occasion. I don't know what was different this time, but anyway, no bother. So I removed the bottom bolt from the strut, and just then the drive shaft just popped out nice and easy. Don't let the hub go though if you're doing that. I supported the hub all the time because the brake caliper is still attached to the hub and you don't want to stress the brake lines. And then I just pop the bottom bolt back into the strut and the hub, and that just stops it from falling away and stressing the brake line. So there's the drive shaft out there, and then need to concentrate now on where it attaches to the gearbox, and it's a very close fit, so you're going to need something basically slim, blunt, curved and very strong. And the star of the show today was it's a mini crowbar that I've got. It's call it a pry bar, mini crowbar, and I'll show you afterwards. Once I've got it out, I'll show you exactly what I did. But it's a question of prying whilst twisting, you know, turning the drive shaft, and hopefully then the circlip, which is the last thing holding the drive shaft in, it will just fall into the right position, and with the prying at the same time, it'll then just pop out, and out pops the drive shaft. So this is what I was doing, basically just levering in the crowbar, just got the angle towards the drive shaft, and then just prying it, just moving it, just levering it, all at the same time, twisting and pulling. And there's the circlip. It's only like, it's probably tenths of a millimeter overhang, but that's what's holding it in, and it's amazing the problems that it can cause just trying to get it out. And then the same mini crowbar I used to get the drive shaft out was also perfect. The other end of it was perfect for taking out the drive shaft seal. So I just got it in there, careful not to scratch the walls of inside the gearbox, and just pried it out, and the whole seal just pops out in one piece, no bother. And then it's just a question of cleaning everything up. You want everything spotless. You want all the inside walls of that to be spotless. You don't want any, because it's a very close fit for the seal when it goes back in. So even a few specks of grime can stop the seal from doing its job. So I'm using a Cortico seal. Cortico are an excellent brand, and these weren't expensive. It was £15 for two, and because I was doing both sides. And if you compare it to the genuine Volvo one that I'm taking out, I don't know about you, but they look almost identical to me, and I doubt very much I'd get two for £15 from Volvo. So that was a result. So you can just pop a bit of silicone grease, brake grease around the outside of the seal and around the inside of the gearbox casing, just a little bit, just to help things along. You don't need to overdo it. And then I just used a very wide but very solid block of wood and hammered the seal, and you just try and get it in as square as you can. Try not to do it where one side's going in more than the other. Just try and get it as square as you can. And obviously if you're using wood, make sure there's no splinters on it or anything like that. And you just keep going until it's flush, and that seal is nicely installed in the gearbox, ready for the drive shaft to go back in. So here's the shaft here, and it's in amazing condition considering this has done 200,000 miles. It's a really nice bit of machining that they do on these. And so I'm just popping just the tiniest bit of silicone spray, which I'll also put on the inside of the seal, and it just helps just slide that wider part of the shaft past the seal when it goes in. So it's like the Holy Trinity. You need the splines to line up. You've got to apply enough pressure so that the shaft passes the seal, and you've also got to keep that twisting action going so the circlip lines up. And once all those three happen at the same time, then it pops in quite nicely. It's really strange. You can sometimes spend 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour trying to battle with it, and sometimes they just slot in, first go after about 20 seconds. So you just have to be patient, just keep applying just that nice even pressure. Don't stress the joints, don't articulate the joints too much, and just try and keep everything as straight as you can. Obviously on this I'm working around a shock absorber as well, so I'll show you on the other shaft how much more space you can have just by having everything out. And so it's going to click in a second. So that was as the seal was going through, and then it was just that final click just there, and it's such a nice feeling when you hear it slot in, and it's secured nicely. And there it is, just nice and close to the gearbox once again, and the seal's all nicely in place, and if you're nice and careful, you're not going to go damaging the seal. So this is the longer shaft on the right hand side of the car, but there's no circlip to deal with here, so that's a bonus. Instead what you have to deal with is the bearing support, and it's just 2 bolts, but certainly the top one can be a little bit awkward to get at, but still with, you know, a reasonable socket set and a wrench. Ratchet spanners help a lot because you've not got much space to work in. And you take those 2 bolts off, and that's it. The other shaft's ready to come out. And you can see on this side I've got the shock absorber removed. I've done a full shock absorber replacement video if you want to you know, give yourself more room. And it just pulls out just as simple as that, because you haven't got the circlip. See, there's no circlip at the end. So once that bearing support has been taken off, it's pretty easy to pull it out. And that's the difference. Look how much space I've got to work with there. It's just a straight view all the way through. And I replaced that seal as well, but there's no point filming that because it's exactly the same procedure. Both seals are identical on this car, same part numbers and everything, so nice and easy. And then you just line it back up and just push it back in nice and straight, and it goes into position. And you can't push it in too far because the bearing support stops the bearing from going too far in. So obviously it helps if you've got helping hand, one of you under the car pushing it in whilst the other one on the outside of the car is guiding it. And there you can see on the bearing support, I'll just do a freeze frame in a minute because there's a tiny lip on it which stops the bearing from going any further. And then you just put the support cap back on with the 2 bolts, bit of Loctite on the bolts, pop those back on, and that's your drive shaft inserted. And then for putting everything back together, like I say, I've got very detailed videos doing strut replacement and what have you, and it's just the reversal of what you've done before if you're not taking the strut off.